Welcome back. Well, in today's video, as kind of requested in a comment, and I feel, well, I don't know, privileged enough to have people commenting. However, someone asked for me if I was going to make a video regarding on how and which CDs and DVDs or otherwise disc media, and that can include software, that can include games, but I'm going to stick with this topic of DVDs and CDs primarily because that's going to be the absolute vast majority of disc media that's going to be found at thrift stores, yard sales, any place where you're going to find this stuff. You're not going to find, proportionally, you're not going to find 30 video games or 50 versions of different types of computer software at yard sales and the like. So I'm going to stick with CDs and DVDs. So the bigger crux of the point of the story on why I pick the certain CD and DVDs. So let's go with the example that if this bookshelf was completely lined with DVDs from top to bottom, and there's a total of 6 tiers. This is that'll probably hold 40 or if not more a shelf. And then some could probably be stacked right here. So let's just say that there are 60 a shelf. That's 300. So if there's 500, 600, 700 DVDs, and that's a very typical count. Not all the time, but that is a very typical count, anywhere from 300 to 500 DVDs that I can see when I go to a thrift store. So there's a couple things that I immediately look for when I'm just reading the titles vertically. Now, granted, my head's like this, so it makes it easier to read. But there's a handful of things that I'm instantly looking for. One are seasons. TV shows, series, whatever you want to call it. Seasons of almost everything. Now, I've been selling disc media now for probably 3 years. My eBay account that I use is 13 years old, and I've been selling for well over 20 years. I got into disc media a couple of years ago, so this will be probably the start. No, I'm a little more than midway through because I bought 700 DVDs from somebody in Parma 2 winters ago to prepare and have items for winter selling in case we got snowed in, and it gave me a big chunk. Matter of fact, I think I don't remember exactly, but I believe I had just sold the last one from that. And that would have been pre-date stamp on my pictures. Probably 2 years ago, I started using date stamps. And there's a good reason for why I use date stamps, which is in a comment or a chain of comments in one of my videos. I'm going to look for seasons. Is going to be number 1. Number 2 would be kind of the conscious reading. So I'm not going to buy, or I'm not even going to bother pulling to scan Forrest Gump, or I can't even think of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other titles that are just so super common that I don't even pull them out to scan them. I always just use Forrest Gump for the example. But I'm not going to pull those commons. If we go into genres wise, I'm going to pull to at least scan horror, most sci-fi, some fantasy, and compilation DVDs. So it could be double feature, triple feature, quadruple, 10 movies in one. And a reason to that is some of them are still 15, 20 bucks. However, there can be one of those DVDs that do have anywhere from 2 to 10 or 12 or even 20 movies in there that one of them is the winner movie. One of them is a $50 DVD, just if it was just that one movie. Could easily be a $50 DVD. So those are ones that I also pull a lot. The point of me having these back here is so I could just do a polling what I would look for when I'm at a store. If I'm just reading these titles as my head is turned, and I want to see which ones I want to pull in order to scan, and this is going to be kind of unfair because these are ones I've already pulled to scan, so I already have that bias. Like, hey, this is one that I want. I want it. I already have it, right? So number one are these. Sealed. I will grab anything and everything sealed. Even a Forrest Gump. I will grab Forrest Gump sealed. This is a specialty DVD. What I mean by specialties, very, 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 very genre specific. I've sold some of her DVDs before, and I know this Nancy right here. Not all of them are super. This is about a $30 DVD. Goodwill I was at yesterday in Talmadge, they're $2.50. A couple of them were half off. I don't remember which ones are half off. I didn't get many. I got like 6 or 7. But it was 5 minutes from my sister's house, and I got 6 or 7 DVDs, a CD, which I will show, which should be the very one there. Interesting. Very, very good classic movie. As a matter of fact, I just rewatched the movie not too long ago, as in maybe 3-4 days ago. So it's a specialty DVD. It has to do with a hobby. Not all of them are great, but this is for sewing and quilting. So a lot of things that are this instructional, same thing as for reference books. If they're instructional and reference material, they're good to at least stop and look up. This one has a barcode. Scanned it. Nothing came up. I don't think anything came up for this specific one. So I just typed in sewing tips Nancy. And I still don't think anything came up until I think I had to go to Terapeak for this one. And there's 8 or 9 sold anywhere from 20 to 30 bucks. So when I see that, I'm not going to click on condition. I know it's new. It's clean sealed. It is factory sealed. I did get this one here. I do know that this movie sells, so that's kind of an unfair example. Now with what's left, kids stuff, most of it I will scan. So we have Barney. Any of these are going to be 15, 20, 30 bucks, right? I'm probably paying $1.50, maybe 2. That 50 cents more for something that sells for 15 bucks, and I've got $8, $9 wrapped up into it after fees and shipping and product cost. I'm not worried about that other 50 cents. It's still going to be a $5 bill translated into liquid money. Barney stuff, Clifford, the Wiggles, Thomas, JJ, Nick Jr., their favorites, the hits. Believe it or not, there's a Nick Jr. soundtrack for, I forget what it is. It's like 40 bucks. Some of the Playhouse Disney Mickey Mouse Club. Look up children's DVDs. I'm not saying every single one. If it's something that you don't remember, no matter how old you are, if you're 18 to 80 watching this, if it's something that you don't remember, a good example, Rocky and Bullwinkle, going into the little older generation. Rocky and Bullwinkle, seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, common stuff, 8 to 10 bucks, 15 bucks. This, 25. I don't know if it's the very last season, but it has more value to it. It has a barcode, easy to find. Another Thomas. And the good thing is about, more specifically, children's DVDs or children-based DVDs is, let's just say, and I probably have 6 or 7 other Thomas. Let's just say that you're not selling at this price, and I brought them down. I've had them for over 6 months, and I end up doing a calling like I just did. and I have 6 children's DVDs, and 4 are Thomas. I could put those 4 and try to put in the title the more expensive valued DVDs in the title over the least expensive ones, and it'll garner a little more attention. And so let's just say that they were $80 or $100 between all 4, what they should sell for. And if you offer it for a little cheaper, I wouldn't necessarily go all 4. I would try 2, getting to that $30 range. That's not a steadfast method. It may be 50. However, you can lot them together. So we go into movies. Here's actually a series, season 4. Not all of the series sells well. At the talmud store I was at, there was season 3 was there. I was like, oh man, I just got this one here. And when I scanned it, it was like $8-10. So I didn't really remember which one I had, but I bought this one probably because it's at least 15 plus. And the other one I could have bought, but at $2 for $2.54 to add to this just wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be complete. I don't want to have a series 2 and a series 3, increase the weight. It would just been an accumulation of adding more money to add no value, almost no value. An order style or a movie. So Dolly Parton is not in her 30s anymore, by far. Her or movies like this that were movies that were originally just VHS and then they got ported over to DVD. Things like this and without. So additionally, this is a Kino Lorber. So KL. Kino Lorber. Criterion. So other things that I want to look for. Kino Lorber. Criterion Collection. Anchor Bay. Those are minimum that just catch my. I'm not going to just be looking at them right off the rip to just try to find the KL. I'll pick it. I'll pull it. If it turns out to be Criterion Collection, is going to be a lot easier to spot. Common movie. Tom Hanks. 2 disc. So this in the single disc version is only like $8. This in the 2 disc version, 13 to 15. So it's worth it for me to buy for $1.50 or $2. And they sell fast. So it's not like that $2, like, oh man, he spent $2 for a $15, not even a $15 sale. By the time I list it, it'll be gone in a week. So I also go into more strange and unusual. So this has a barcode. Did not come up with any results. You type in fatal error DVD. There's not a lot, which makes it real easy because those are 2 fairly common words that you put in the title. And you go into the DVD category and you look, and this specific cover has not sold. Now these sell for anywhere from the movie, anywhere from $15 to $30. This specific cover, and the few listings I looked at that had different cover than the common cover, did not have that DVD design. Is it worth it to me to spend $2 on this? And the minimum selling price for just the movie is roughly $20. After the heck, yeah. What's the worst going to happen? It's going to sell for $20? Or it's a much rarer, and I can come home and I can look stuff up on different websites for DVDs, for disc media, and I can find more information out. Another one of those, it's an order style movie, order style font. The same thing I suggested about the books. Order style font, right? So I'm just looking at the spine. So order movie, order style font. Now it doesn't necessarily mean it's an old movie. Newer movies can use older fonts for sure, but can just kind of look at it and pick up on. And I bought it, so obviously it's going to be around $15 to $30, whatever it may be. Another one that's common. So this is a strange thing. So this one here I remember. But it has Korean. It's Korean. Now this one I paid $1 for. So to spend $1 on Phantom of the Opera, and if you type in, was it Lancaster that was in it? Yeah, Burt Lancaster. There's only like 5 that come up, and none in Korean. And the ones that do sell are $30. So this is going to be one, more likely, that it sells, and someone's going to want it for its originality, because it's a version of the Burt Lancaster Phantom of the Opera DVD that they don't have. To spend $1 on it to likely sell for $20, yeah. Speaking of Phantom of Paradise, movie I never heard of. Pick it up. Order style pictures on the back. For, you know, you could tell that it's from, you know, it's not a newer movie. Sometimes I will look at the actors and actresses and try to acknowledge if any of them. Now, I'm not a movie aficionado by any means, but see if there's some common actors in there, or if there's a name of a common actor. If they're listed in there, and let's just say it's a 1990s movie, and you recognize the name, you're like, oh man, that's an early. Poison Ivy, Drew Barrymore. This is Exercise 1. I just saw Starter Pack. Starter Pack, why not? That's something that will catch my eye. Velvet Goldmine. No idea. I think this was in a video that I posted probably 3-4 days ago. Probably longer than that, because it took me a couple days to go through all that stuff from the Long Lost store. Well, Velvet Goldmine. I think this is one I had to hand type. You can see still have part of the Goodwill sticker on it. So I try to take them off. If I can't get them off all the way, I'm right back down to people who are collecting these things. If they don't want that there, they can either try to take that off, or most likely they have extra cases. Lenny Bruce, a comedian. All I saw was a side. Lenny Bruce. It's not a movie name. As far as I know, it's not a show name. It does have a barcode. Looked it up. Again, it's got to be at least $15. Probably over that. On the side here, all I see is season 2, and it's sealed. It's worthwhile. I think this one's closer to 30. This one here is closer to 20. It's a sealed one, so we're not gonna bother with that one. Rough Riders, sealed, probably close to 20. Private Eyes, you see here, that's a newer style font. Like that, a lot of the stuff back in the 90s did that. So if you remember, like the movie The Fly and The Hollow Man, they had these type of kind of overlayered font to it. Don Knotts. So Don Knotts is definitely an actor from the 60s and 70s, and even in the 80s. Robin Hood. Definitely a rendition that's been around for a while. If you type in Douglas Fairbanks, not a lot. And I think this is actually NTSC, or might be PAL. No, it doesn't say if it's PAL or NTSC. Wing Commander. Wing Commander. With Matthew Lillard from Scooby-Doo, from 13 Ghosts, from the very, very obscure, I believe, only one episode, maybe 2, of a I want to say it was an MTV show called Skate TV from probably back 92, 93. Okay, now CDs in this type of size and stuff here. So this is one cover art that I reversed. So that is the actual cover art. This is one I got in Talmadge yesterday. Just rewatched the movie the other day. Scanned it. They come up $35 to $50. This is one I will replace the case. I do have extra tray and container and lids and all that. I do have extra, and I will replace this one because I know it is a little higher. But when I'm at a store, so I have big hands. You can see how many more I can hold it here. I could probably get 1 or 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, 14. 15 is about right. I'm going to hold 15. So this is what I do. Grab off 15. Now I'll just do this. Except for it'll be quicker. A lot of the paper gatefolds will, if you grab them, they will slide, and all that stuff will slide out. So I will grab these in things that just look interesting. Now that looks very common. maybe early 80s or just around the 80s all the way around, right? But it just looks like something that would be catchy. Danielle Dax, Dark Adapted Eye. That one caught my adapted eye. Scan it. Crosby Nash, that's been around for a while. Now ask for why I picked this one, because it's one that is atypical. So it's not one that I've seen for Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And speaking of Kent State and Crosby, Stills, Nash, they're the ones who wrote the song For Dead in Ohio, and that song has to do with the Kent State shootings. And this is a PC game. So PC games, most of the time I look up unless then Legend. The CD part of this entire video wasn't quite exclusive as talking about the DVD part. But the reason why I pick the certain CDs and DVDs that I do is because they are different. They are non-common. To me, non-common. If you're just starting out at picking and pulling CDs and DVDs, you'll probably look at 99% of what's there just to start to get an idea. A couple weeks later, after you've shuffled through thousands and thousands of CDs and DVDs, now what you're going to pick to scan off the shelves is going to be 80%. And then eventually you're just going to be able to just cursory. So I will give it, if you're going out every single day and you're looking at 1,000 disc media every single day, and you're pulling them out and you're looking at them individually, like, just don't scan everything. There's no need. Because eventually what you did not scan, you'll likely come across again, and you will scan it. When you start to become more honed, you're more accustomed to looking for the specific genres, and I don't even say artists. It could vary. I mean, that Crosby, Stills, Nash. Common. Most of their CDs are common. That's just one I have never seen before. So I set it aside and I scan it. It's worth enough for me to buy it. So I think the conclusion of why I buy the CDs and DVDs I do, out of the thousands I have to look at each store, if it's even 1,000, but you get my point. It's based not only of experience the past couple of years. I like to be more experienced, but I'm also not going to leave money on the table per se. The bigger part of it is just not looking at and picking to scan the common stuff. You'll realize what is common with more experience. So there's a good adage, so everybody has an ability, everybody has a skill, and everybody has a talent. You start with the ability. You have the ability to pick every single one of these up and look at every single one, every single DVD, every single CD. You then start to hone that ability, and it turns into a skill to where you're not doing as much work for more return. And then you have a talent to where there's media aficionados out there that can go to a thrift store, wherever inventory is or whatever this scenario is building to. They can go and they don't even have to pull any of them. They don't have to pull a whole bunch. They could just find, but one or five that are $30 or more, and they could spend half an hour looking through 3,000. And they know what's there, and they know what's of good quality. It all takes time, and the more you do it, the more you go out and you look for the very non-common stuff, and you're going to start scanning things. So now I know that Legend soundtrack is $30, $40, $50. When it sells, you're going to remember more. This is a primary reason why I hand type stuff in my listings. I hand type it to search it, and I'll copy paste that, and I'll hand type it, and I'll hand type some more in the actual title, and I'll go down, I'll copy paste that in the description. You don't have to be super crazy. It's like you don't have to have flowers and bouquets all over the place on your eBay page. People aren't there for the beautification of your page. There was a while ago, I think there was something called Octava. I want to say it's called Octava, like you can get a carousel. And this is way back in the late 90s, early 2000s on eBay. Like a little, kind of like a diamond shaped, or a rhombus would be the more technical term, a rhombus shaped little carousel wheel that would show your items that would just kind of carousel on the bottom of your listing page. And then you could sign up for more, which would be designer pages. You don't need to design your pages. But if you're typing this stuff in, you're remembering more about what you're looking for. Why am I going to remember Legend? Well, it's an awesome movie. Why am I going to remember Legend soundtrack? Why am I going to remember, where's the other one that was in here? Oh, here's another really good one. Horror films. This is like 20, 25 bucks. Why am I going to remember well, this is an older an older artist put in the CD. Why am I going to remember a lot of these things? Because I hand type them, and if I hand type them, 90% of the time, it's because I got them by a one-off. As in, meaning I was at a store, and I looked stuff individually, and put them up on shelves, and I scanned them, and it turned out to be something worthwhile, and I came home, and I typed it in, and I typed it in, and I posted it, and it sold. And then when I'm going to pick my inventory, I have to look, oh, this is Crosby and Nash. So you're repeating the same information in your head. It's going to make it a lot easier to remember this stuff. The rudimentary part of getting the more valuable, subjective, but getting the more valuable disc media wise is a repetition. The batting practice, per se, if we're going to use a baseball analogy, the batting practice is going out and looking through all the comments and going through the chaff, getting all that weak stuff out. And then you start to remember the quality stuff. So that's going to wrap that one up. Really is. So if you like what you heard, like what you saw, feel free to leave a comment, leave a thumb thingy, or one thingy. Maybe that'll be my trademark thing. I don't know now. Subscribe, share. It's all free. It all helps. I appreciate it. Thank you.